The scream that erupted from Mia's tiny chest was a sound so raw, so heart-wrenching, it seemed to tear the quiet afternoon in Willow Grove apart. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, her mother, felt it like a punch to the gut, a cold spike of dread piercing her heart before she even saw what had caused it. Mia, her 8-year-old daughter with autism, stood frozen in their backyard, her small body rigid, her face a mask of horror, pointing at the empty space where a therapy rabbit, Daisy, should have been. The hutch, always locked tight, was open. The run, built to keep Daisy safe, was empty. Sarah's stomach churned as she rushed to Mia, her professional calm as a veterinarian and animal rights advocate battling the rising panic of a mother watching her child unravel. Mia's cries grew louder, a keening wail that echoed Sarah's own racing pulse. She checked the hutch. No broken latches, no signs of a fox or raccoon, no tufts of Daisy's soft white fur snagged on the fence. This wasn't an escape. It felt intentional, malicious. Sarah's mind flashed to their neighbor, Mrs. Victoria Langley, the HOA president who'd made no secret of her contempt for Daisy. A rodent, she called her, sneering at the hutch during one of her many inspections of Willow Grove's pristine lawns. Hardly fitting for a neighborhood like ours. Therapy animal? For what? Kids today are spoiled rotten. Sarah had brushed it off, but now a sickening suspicion took root. Just weeks ago, Sarah's husband, Tom, had installed security cameras after Victoria's endless HOA complaints about their mailbox color, Mia's garden pinwheels, even the clutter of Daisy's hutch. Now, with trembling hands, Sarah pulled up the footage on her laptop. Mia's sobs a relentless backdrop. What she saw stole her breath, replaced it with a rage so fierce it felt like it could burn the house down. There was Victoria, creeping toward the hutch at dusk, her movements sly but deliberate. She dangled a carrot, cooing in a mockery of kindness, then unlatched the hutch, scooped up Daisy, and vanished toward her own yard. Sarah switched to another camera, one Tom had angled to catch a sliver of Victoria's property. The grainy image, half blocked by Victoria's prized azaleas, showed her approaching a dog run where her massive German shepherd, Titan, paced hungrily. Victoria opened the gate, and Sarah slammed the laptop shut, a choked cry escaping her lips. She couldn't watch the rest. The implication was a knife to her soul. "Mama, where's Daisy?" Mia's tear-streaked face looked up, her voice small but piercing. How do you tell a child whose world revolves around that gentle, floppy-eared rabbit her anchor in a sensory storm that she's been stolen, fed to a monster? Sarah, the director of the National Animal Defense League, had seen cruelty before. She'd built cases against poachers, abusers, even dog-fighting rings. But this was personal. This was a calculated attack on her daughter's fragile heart, and Victoria Langley had no idea who she'd just crossed. They'd moved to Willow Grove 2 years ago, chasing peace after years of Sarah's grueling work. Her job took her to the darkest corners of animal cruelty slaughterhouses, illegal breeding mills. Willow Grove, with its tidy lawns and promises of community, was supposed to be a haven, especially for Mia, whose autism made the world a chaotic puzzle. Daisy, a fluffy Holland Lop, wasn't just a pet. She was a registered therapy animal, her calm presence a lifeline for Mia's anxieties. Mia would spend hours in the backyard, reading to Daisy, her voice soft, her world steady with Daisy's warm weight in her lap. Victoria, though, saw only a blemish on her perfect neighborhood. From the start, she'd hounded them complaining about the hutch, Mia's disruptive laughter, even the solar lights Sarah hung for Daisy's run. "We have standards," she'd sniffed. "Property values to protect." Now, kneeling on the kitchen floor, Mia clinging to her, Sarah felt her world tilt. Tom came home, took one look at her face, and knew something was horribly wrong. Through tears and fury, she told him what she'd seen. His face paled, his hands clenched. That witch?" he whispered. "What do we do, Sarah? How do we make her pay?" Sarah's voice hardened. "First, we save the footage. Every second. Then we call the police, animal control. We document everything Mia's paying, the hutch, all of it." Her mind was already racing. Felony animal cruelty, theft, psychological abuse of a minor. Victoria thought she could bully them into silence. She was about to learn how wrong she was. The 911 call was maddening. The dispatcher seemed to think it was just a lost pet, struggling to grasp the premeditated horror. When Officer Daniels arrived, he listened with a mix of sympathy and skepticism, scribbling in his notepad. "So, you're saying Mrs. Langley took your rabbit and fed it to her dog?" His tone suggested he thought Sarah was exaggerating. She showed him the footage, shielding Mia from the worst of it. Daniel's face fell, his muttered Jesus barely audible. He marched to Victoria's house, where she answered the door in a silk blouse, her silver hair perfect, Titan barking in the background. "Officer, this is absurd," she said, her voice dripping with indignation. "My Titan, a killer? He's a show dog. If Mrs. Mitchell lost her pet, she should check her own shoddy hutch. This is harassment." She even dabbed her eyes with a handkerchief, playing the VY Tim to perfection. Daniels returned, flustered. "She denies all. Says the VY Deo's fake or doesn't show what you think. Maybe the rabbit got out and her dog found it. An accident." Sarah's patience snapped. "An accident she caused by stealing my daughter's therapy animal and handing it to her dog's jaws? Officer, this is a felony. I expect an arrest. I expect that dog impounded." Daniels sighed, muttering about needing to consult his sergeant, the DA. Sarah knew this game-minimizing animal cruelty, hesitating to touch a powerful figure like Victoria, the HOA queen. But she wasn't just a grieving mom. She was a force Victoria couldn't imagine. Animal control came later, a weary officer named Torres who watched the footage with a grim nod. Without Daisy's body or a confession, impounding Titan was tricky, but she issued Victoria a warning about leash laws and noted the case for a dangerous dog investigation. Then Victoria struck back. A letter arrived from a fancy law firm, accusing Sarah and Tom of defamation and threatening a multi-million-dollar lawsuit unless they retracted their claims and destroyed the VY Deo. "She's trying to bankrupt us," Tom said, his voice shaking. Sarah's eyes narrowed. "It's a slap suit. She's scared because we have proof." The HOA piled on, passing a rule banning all animals except dogs and cats, specifically targeting therapy animals like Daisy. It was a clear shot at Mia, ensuring no child like her could ever have such a companion in Willow Grove. Victoria's campaign grew uglier. She whispered to neighbors about that troubled Mitchell girl and her unhinged mother, painting them as liars. Some neighbors, cowed by Victoria's influence, turned cold. Mia's nightmares worsened, her backyard now a place of fear. Then came Titan, accidentally loose in their yard, sniffing Daisy's hutch, his presence a taunt. Victoria's apologies were crocodile tears. "Oh, Titan, you rascal," she'd coo. "So sorry, Mrs. Mitchell." Tom, usually calm, was leave VYD. "She's terrorizing Mia. We need a restraining order." Sarah had tried to play by local rules, but Mia's pain and Victoria's brazenness pushed her over the edge. She met with Detective Harper, who'd taken over from Daniels, and ADA Laura Chun, a sharp but cautious prosecutor wary of Victoria's connections. Chun hesitated on the psychological abuse charge, fearing it'd be hard to prove. Sarah leaned forward, her voice steady but commanding. "Ms. Chun, Detective Harper, what Victoria Langley did wasn't a mistake. It was the deliberate destruction of a registered therapy animal, an extension of my daughter's medical care. It was psychological terrorism against a vulnerable child. And you should know I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell, Director of the National Animal Defense League. My team works with the DOJ, forensic experts, and child psychologists. We can VY to testimony, case law, everything you need to nail her." The room went silent. Chin's pen dropped. Harper's eyes widened. Sarah's task force swung into action, supplying Chun with psychological reports on Mia's trauma, veterinary analyses of Daisy's likely suffering, and legal precedents. Victoria's lawyer, a smug attorney named Gregory Holt, tried to suppress the VY Deo, claiming it was illegally recorded. Chun, backed by Sarah's experts, shut him down. When Holt questioned Daisy's therapy status, he faced a wall of documentation and expert witnesses. Victoria's neighbors began to turn. The Wilsons, a young family, shared footage of Victoria frantically cleaning Titan's run hours after Daisy vanished, suggesting she was hiding EVY Denke. Others whispered about Victoria's past bullying, her petty power trips. The breaking point came during one of Mia's therapy sessions. Her drawings, once bright, were now dark, jagged images of a monstrous dog, a trembling rabbit, a girl weeping alone. She scribbled over one with a black crayon, her body shaking. Her therapist, Dr. Patel, warned Sarah that Mia's trauma was deepening, fueled by Titan's intrusions and Victoria's smears. Sarah filed for an emergency restraining order, presenting the footage and Titan's incursions. The judge granted it instantly, barring Victoria from contact with the Mitchells and ordering Titan confined. The preliminary hearing was electric. Victoria sat, pale but defiant, with Holt at her side. Chun presented the footage, enhanced to show Victoria's deliberate theft. Dr. Patel's testimony about Mia's trauma was devastating. A former vet tech, once employed by Victoria's vet, revealed Victoria's chilling pride in Titan's aggression, even joking about needing better prey than squirrels. Holt's motions to dismiss crumbled. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Ellen Carter, bound Victoria over for trial on all charges: felony animal cruelty, grand theft, and psychological injury to a minor. Victoria's composure cracked, her hands trembling. The trial, months later, was a spectacle. The courtroom buzzed as Chun laid out a crushing case. The footage left jurors gasping. The Wilsons' video of Victoria scrubbing the run screamed guilt. Dr. Patel's words brought tears. Sarah testified, her voice steady but raw, painting Daisy as Mia's lifeline. Holt's attempts to smear her as a vengeful neighbor fell flat against her calm authority. The jury took 5 hours, guilty on all counts. At sentencing, Judge Carter didn't hold back, condemning Victoria's abuse of power. She got 3 years in prison, 5 years probation, and a lifetime ban on owning animals. She was to pay for Mia's therapy and Daisy's value. As Victoria was cuffed, Sarah felt no joy, only relief. Willow Grove changed. The HOA, now led by a kinder president, scrapped Victoria's rules. A memorial garden for Daisy bloomed in the park, a quiet tribute to compassion. Mia began to heal, volunteering at a shelter, her gentle touch soothing scared animals. She wasn't ready for another rabbit, but her drawings grew brighter: a garden of rabbits, Daisy at the center, a halo above her head, and a brave girl offering a carrot, smiling. One evening, Sarah found Mia sketching in the yard. "It's Daisy's garden," Mia whispered. "She's happy now, and I'm not alone." Sarah held her close, hope flickering amidst the pain. But the story doesn't end here. What do you think? Did Victoria deserve her punishment, or was 3 years too harsh for a neighborhood dispute? Should Sarah have pushed for even tougher charges, like federal ones, given Daisy's therapy status? And what about Titan? Was he a VY Tim of Victoria's cruelty too, or a danger that should have been put down? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this story gripped you, and subscribe for more tales that'll keep you on edge. Let's get this debate rolling.